arises. The big question, who am I? Who am I? And it's not a very simple question to answer, so I'm not expecting an answer right away. I would expect some introspection, I would expect some processing, and I would expect soul searching, and you don't have to be in a hurry to answer that question, who am I? I was delighted when I was told the topic is the value of man, and it continually veers to the big fight between the genders now. And of course, the man is an endangered species. I think it's all now in agreement, it's almost official, that the man is an endangered species. Yeah, there are so many hastily done programs to resuscitate the man before he gets extinct. But he won't, he has been there long enough. God will not allow that to happen. Believe you me. God is always on our side. What has happened is that we have been put through so much, even more than we bargained for. But we are still going to come through. What we need to do, possibly, is to up our game, maybe reach for more tricks in our bag, and be totally in charge. And maybe that is where we want to emphasize a few things, to be in charge. Not only in charge, but totally in charge. Why do we sometimes appear as if we no longer are in charge of the situation? There are very many factors. First, when it comes to the dynamics of relationships, it can get very tricky. Now, I know most of you would really feel happy when we mention the topic of relationships, isn't it? That one is a never-ending enigma, if I can put it that way. It's so fascinating, there's got no end in sight, and I don't imagine it would end today. So again, why do we fall in love? Why do we fall in love? I would want to quote Daphne King Ma, who has written a very good book, and she's an authority on relationships. Daphne King Ma, on a book about how relationships end and how to go through the ending of yours, which means that she's an expert on relationships and how they die or how they end. She poses, or rather she explains, the reason we fall in love is to help us accomplish our external and internal developmental tasks. Those of you who are doing psychology or even in education know developmentally we put development stages, and then within those stages there are tasks that must be accomplished. Now I would quickly add that those tasks, developmental tasks, are enormous. And when it comes to the boy child, to the young man, to the man, to the family person, we get more than our fair share of the load. True? We get more than our fair share. The thing, or the reason why it's getting so complicated lately is because of where we come from. We are now urbanized to an extent, but even as we are getting urbanized, we are still villagers. So you can get the mix. You are a villager who is trapped in an urban setup. That's why you are finding so many things like in Nairobi. We have got slums growing at an extremely alarming rate. Nairobi is ring-fenced by slums. From Kawangware, you go down, you go to Kibera, go to Mukuru kwa Njenga, you go around, then finally the oldest, Mathare, isn't it? And more slums are coming up. When I read the UN reports, I became very depressed that by 2016, that time I was reading around 2012, by 2016, the population in the urban setup in the whole world would surpass the population in the villages. I became very, very depressed. Of course, 2016 came, and those statistics are clear. We now have got more people in urban centers in the world than in the rural setups. Now, when people go to town, for example, you travel to Nairobi, kuna mtu amekupangia choo yako? Hakuna? So you are already going to add to already crowded situation. Unaenda kukaa kwa ndugu yako, kuna kitu amekupangia shwari, karumu kake ni kale kale, isn't it? So more often than not, utalala kwa sitting room, which means lazima kuwe na dynamics, utalala kama washalala na utaamka before. Hii ni vitu tunaelewa, isn't it? So dynamics, na kuna mtu anasema mimi nataka kwa ndugu yangu, lakini ueleze dynamics za vile unaishi. But wewe ni mtu anaro, wewe ni mtu anaro, wewe ni mtu anaro. Lakini the truth is, lazima walale kwanza ndio upewe kale ka mattress, na mattress of course ukilala unagusa floor straight, isn't it? Lakini kwa vile umechoka na Nairobi unapata usingizi ya immediate, isn't it? But kuamka senses zako zinakwambia wameanza kuamka, so lazima uamke kimpango, uvae haraka haraka na unajiweka kwa kiti hapo kimpango, isn't it? You understand this thing? I don't know to go into details. So honestly, living in Nairobi, especially when you're not on your own, sometimes so those people are worse than the ones at committee. Unajua ukiwa committee, chakula ni assured, si ndio? Meal is assured. Lakini by then the worst prison is the prison out here. You know, if you want to be a total slave, give somebody total freedom. Tazunguka mpaka wanarudi hapo. Because that openness ndio inakufunga zaidi. Anyway, before I get carried away, because I could veer into very many things, is that the man is truly endangered. And as we struggle with our development tasks, we need to get somebody who would start fulfilling some of those things, and hence the issue of relationships comes in, and it becomes very tricky because it is not as straightforward as it is. Now let me touch on the valuable man. When I was doing some little homework on the topic, I have of course first to define valuable. Very useful or important. Just a simple expression. Worth a lot. We even move ahead and say invaluable. That is something that is priceless. It is precious. It is irreplaceable. And when you look at it, of course, man is irreplaceable. Of course, when there is a fight, a woman says that they don't need men. But the extinction of a man or the inability of a man to function may mean the extinction of the human race. That's why there is so much worry right now, because scientists have been working on this. Research is being done by the health professionals. And it is worrisome because of the environmental pollution and the stress levels and so many other factors, even the fertility level of men is threatened. The quality of the semen in men is much lower. Are you getting me? So, I'm not saying that you move out there and test whether you can fertilize a woman. What I'm trying to say is that all this is in perspective of the bigger threats that we are already encountering. So, take it from me, I'm a little bit fearful. And of course, I thank God because already I've got 4 kids who are grown up. My last born is here with you at the university. He's in that year. And I can't wait for him to finish, so that I can say a big... Are you getting me? It's not easy having 2 kids at the university at the same time. My daughter is at the Parklands Law campus, and the brother is here doing IT. And I'm really hurrying them up, so that at least I can breathe easy and have my freedom with my wife. There are so many things I want to do. There are so many places I want to go. You get me? I really need my freedom. I need my time. I want to see the world. I want to take my wife to many places. I've really promised her. Now, before, I hope you do not promise your girlfriend a lot about the Valentine, because as we say, that is where problems will come. However, I will give you some tricks of how to handle them, because that's the topic of the day. And I'm afraid also our time will move very fast. Okay, we have got like that 5 minutes or thereabouts. So we are going to tackle some things. Now, there is somebody who mentioned about the value of the man because it is God-given from the creation. I don't want to go there. But before the main dance. Now, go at it at a slow pace because life is not a dash. Life is a marathon. And if you read Paul Tegat's book, he says the marathon begins at the 35th mile. And the 35th kilometer is when the marathon begins. Why did Tegat say that? It's because at the 35th kilometer, all the pretenders are fallen by the wayside. Anybody out of that group at the front, anybody can take it. Are you together? So can you time your marathon so that you don't sap your energy long before? So let the ladies, let the cows not treat you into a competition and then you exhaust yourself and you're in trouble with the landlord, you're in trouble with the gate person here because you have not done this, you have not done that because of the little resources. Now, it can get very tricky if you come from a very humble beginning, humble background, where you don't have a lot of resources, and you have entered a competition. First, you must ask yourself, where am I going with this competition? Where am I going with this competition? Of course, it's always good a man wants to feel good to shine. Kuonekana hata wewe, hata wewe si hako. Hata wewe you can punch, but unfortunately you may end up punching way above your weight. And now, when the punches are all gone, you now come down again to the base level. Now, a lot of things need to be combined here, but importantly, you need not lose yourself as a valuable man. When it is combined with the issues of relationships, the whole thing can get very tricky. Now, I've just described valuable. Now, when it comes to the man, there are so many descriptions here. An adult, male human, you can even say a good-looking young man, the relationship between men and women. We could even at some point brag and say this is the time to separate the men from the boys. That is to sort out. It is also expressed that you can't keep a good man down. What does that one mean? That if you are determined, you do always rise up, no matter the obstacles or the difficulties. Now, just to round up what we said, that the man's position is God-given and is incontrovertible. It is emphasized all the way from the book of Genesis. I don't want to go there. But it is of importance to know how did the man fall. So that now we are lamenting and we are mourning that the man is an endangered species is because over time we have been tricked into doing many things that we did not want to do. Before we get carried away, we need not forget that it is God also who created the woman out of the man, isn't it? And since the woman became a bit crafty and tricked the man to do the first sin, then the woman has been upping her game. Sometimes you can also observe girls as they move. They have dressed provocatively. You may think it is unconscious. Yes, for some it is unconscious, but believe you me, it is very much conscious because they are on a mission. They are on a mission. And since also this is wired in the man, when she passes dressed scantily and they have got a way of walking provocatively, by the way, did you know why women have high-heeled shoes? Any idea? Yes.
Maybe because as they walk, their body, as they balance now, you can see they shake the body. So
they shake their body.
Yeah.
That's a good try. Who can pinpoint why do they have stilettos? Our lady is tall, but she goes ahead and buys a 6-inch stiletto. Why? Is it because of increasing the height? Certainly not. Why? Attention, yeah, that's one. And particularly, what kind of attention? After all, you're also in shoes. Are you catching attention? Why don't you catch attention? Because you are in shoes also, isn't it? Kwa nini yeye ana catch attention zaidi? Leo tutaongea, si ndio? Tuongee ama tusiongee? Tuongee ama tusiongee? Very good. Now, to cut it short, because you may wonder here and there, it is very simple. The women deliberately put on high-heeled shoes because the moment they put them and the heel is 6-inch, it pushes their butts up, isn't it? Oh yes, are you doubting me? The moment they pushes their buttocks, now the swinging begins. Now she can really move with it. Are we together? It is very deliberate. And they can go to any length to buy even the highest high heels. So it is a design which is meant to push their buttocks up because men also view sex from behind. Oh yes. Men view sex from behind. That way, sexually, men also always fantasize. They fantasize. That's why some men will stand at a strategic point and they are pretending they are on their phones, but they are escorting that lady with their eyes all the way that way. Then they start with another and they come back with another one. Now hawezi kuchoka. True? It is wired in the man's DNA. So, since women are aware of these tricks, they always up their game. While men in the morning wanatoka gym, wakiwa na t-shirts tule tunashika zaidi, wengine wanasweat, isn't it? They are showing their biceps, isn't it? And of course, men walk as if wanataka kwenda to lift something even heavier. They have been lifting things, but as they walk out, it's as if they want to lift something even heavier again, isn't it? You are aware of all this, isn't it? That time the lady is now swinging around, because she has got to be seen. As somebody says about tension, they must get you. And to get they will. Because it did not start yesterday. Now, for a valuable man, a Christian man, what am I trying to say? It is through conscious awareness that you can be able to win these battles. These are not simple battles as you imagine. It is only through conscious awareness that these are tricks laid out for me that you can be able to epuka hii mitego. Now, I've always said, and I'll repeat it. Personally, I always thank God, and I continually pray. I don't fear sin. I don't fear sin. What I fear most is temptation. I will repeat. I don't fear sin. What I fear is temptation. Even in prayer we say lead us not into temptation. Yes. Because the more you move towards temptation, sin is almost assured to occur. But you can't sin if you have not been lured into temptation. That's for me. I don't know about you. But what I'm trying to say is to win these battles, you must first be consciously aware of what am I fighting. You can't win a battle if you don't know even what the enemy has. True? Even as the countries fight, the first thing is to know what type of weapons are they possessing. So now we have defined why women put on stiletto and high heels and whatever. Why they are always in two mockers and whatever. Nowadays wametomboa everywhere. You will find a line of kwa masikio line moja na ingine inaanza kwenda. Hiyo isitoshe wanakuja hapa wanaongeza ingine, hiyo isitoshe wanaongeza ingine hapa, hiyo isitoshe wanaweka ingine hapa, and they can go down and down, isn't it? Are you aware of that? Now, this thing is more serious than you guys think. Hii mambo ni very serious, I'm telling you. Now, wakati unashikwa hapa kwa barabara, unachekeshwa, mimi naona, oi, that one is gone. Because I can easily see, huyu ameenda, isn't it? Wewe kwisha. Now, for a valuable man, a Christian man, somebody who is a believer, you need to be consciously aware that Satan is a hard worker. Satan is a hard worker. And he wants to recruit more and more agents. Because forever he doesn't want to go alone. So they are using the latest tricks in the book. Mukiguza technology anaguza technology, isn't it? Ukienda internet anaenda Akienda mtandao anaenda. So, hii game requires conscious awareness. What am I up against? What am I up against all the time? Now, the value of a man can be looked at from very many directions. From the fall of Adam, you know about the curse and how it was declared that the woman would suffer pain as she gives birth, while the man would only eat food from the sweat of his brow. So this thing did not start yesterday. It's a long drawn fight. Now, I know there will be numerous and endless questions, but for the value of a man, there are some also disturbing aspects, especially within such a setup of the university. How do I get my way around? What do I pick when I'm looking for a girlfriend whom I wish to marry? What do I tell her at whatever stage? What is the right age to get married? I think all these questions are relevant, true or not? These questions are always very relevant. Now, unfortunately, there isn't one answer that fits all, no size fits all. Now, there is this question asked by women. A man would ask, what is the best age to get married? A woman would never worry so much about that question. For them, if the combinations are right, they just get married. For the man, for the woman is, why is the modern man fearful of commitment? Maybe I'll try to answer that one. Then, what age gap is too big when it comes to either marriage or moving forward? But the first question, what is the best age to get married? Why is the modern man fearful of commitment? What would you say makes you guys get fearful of commitment? Yes.
I can say for me, the timing is wrong.
Yes?
The timing of that particular time. She might be ready to get married, but I'm not settled at that time. That particular time, I'm not settled.
You want to get settled?
Yes, first I settle.
Or you want to put a few things right before you get committed?
Yes.
Women are gifted in more ways than one. You guys had better be aware of that. A woman is always looking for an opportunity. And by the way, let me start this one right from the beginning. A woman does not marry a man. I'm now talking as a psychologist. A woman does not marry you. Listen and listen carefully. A woman does not marry you. A woman marries the prospects in you. I'll repeat. A woman does not marry you. This is a secret. A woman marries the prospects she can easily discern in you. Tuko pamoja? Are we together? Or you want me to repeat? Nataka nifafanue zaidi.
Yes.
What do I mean that a woman does not marry you na wewe ndio umekuwa ukimtongoza all along? Then suddenly kwani imeenda namna gani? What has happened is a woman has got very good homing combination kama modern radar ili inatumiwa na Russia on their S-400 missile, which is the best in the world. She can easily discern where you are headed given your combinations. Personality, IQ-wise, then she's thinking about your background. She's now assessing your financial worth, the course you are doing, which is going to lead you to what, and how she can now wiggle and fit herself within that combination. Sasa hizo wewe unaona tu vile anatembea namna hiyo, you already lost. But for her, hey, ako kazi, and she's seeing far. Wewe unaona tu hapa mbele kifua na huku nyuma kwisha. You stop thinking, basically. But for her, she's really combining so many things. And the last combination for her is this one. If she got babies by you, chances zitakuwa namna gani? That is the last straw. If she got kids with you, kutakuaje? That's always the clincher. And it's not just a woman, it's a female species throughout history. If you are doubting me, look at the antelopes in the wild, look at the lions, look at why are these animals fighting so much when it comes to the mating season? And as they fight, where are the females?
Watching.
Thank you. They pretend they are not seeing. Zinagraze hapa lakini macho iko. Zile zinapigana mpaka moja inatoroka. Then the strong one is left. That is the one they are going to mate with. To ensure that the genetic value is always the strongest. But here, because you can't come fighting, ukianza fight hapa, of course you fight in so many ways. Una fight kutumia pesa, isn't it? Wengine wanastuana kidogo kidogo, isn't it? Unawekwa nje ya mtandao, isn't it? Then you go to your room morning because hapo you have been outmatched. Amepelekwa date ya Nairobi na wewe unamzungusha tu hapa Makongeni. Yeye si mtu aleva ya Makongeni bwana. Sasa unapiga simu haichukuliwi. Una date mtu Makongeni na amepewa date ya Nairobi. Oh my God. You are done, isn't it? You are already been outmatched. True? Sasa hii vita ile physical ni vita ya mfuko bwana. Na kama uko kwa hiyo league, wachana na hiyo game. Wachana na hiyo game, utapata stress mbaya sana na itafanya mpaka grades zako ziharibike. Now, on the other hand, you can use your lack of the financial capacity, you can overcompensate by getting good grades where you get a first class and the same lady again, hey sasa, the same lady who abandoned you kwa sababu date ilikuwa ni Makongeni. There are so many ways of going about this thing. All what you require is awareness. Now, I want to quote one of most respected psychologists who came with a theory that can really work for you. It is known as the ABC theory of personality. For those who are doing psychology, I don't know how many are doing psychology. Anybody who is doing psychology? Now, for those who are doing psychology, we have got this great guy, Albert Ellis, whose theory I've used time and time again, the ABC theory of personality. It states that it is really not what happens that causes you the difficulties you experience. It is your interpretation of what happened. I'll repeat. If your girlfriend runs away from you because you don't have money now, of course you are going to lose appetite for several days. Okay? Let's agree. Ukiachwa, sasa vile wanasema ati ukiachwa ufanye nini? Uachana na hiyo slogan. That slogan is very misleading. Umeachwa na uachike namna gani? You are sick. You are sick for so long. First, appetite inakosa. Kwa class unaangalia tu hivi, una imagine pali wako na wewe huko hapo. Mwalimu akimaliza alikuwa anasema nini? Because you have already lost it. True or not? So hii mambo ya kusema ati ukiachwa uachike, huwezi kuachika haraka hivyo. No. You try all methods until it fades away na unakubali. Then you go into depression and that's the time you should see as counselors. Because you can go into a depression pali utatoka. True? Now I'm telling you the truth. Ukiachwa first come to a counselor quickly. Ukihema, ameniacha, wewe tulia kwanza. Tulia kwanza. What's the worst that can happen? Okay, of course, if you killed yourself, I won't come for your burial. I won't come to your Now, that is, by the way, many people think it's an option, kujiua. But who cares if you died? Who cares? The world just moves on. Matatu za Makongeni za kosa kwenda kweli, sababu umekufa. That's how minute you can be in this world. And we want you to count as a value of a man, we want you to count finally. Now, ukiachwa, you can use that one as a leverage. Remember, the ABC theory of personality posits, it is not what happens that causes you all the ills, all the depression, all the bad feelings. It is your interpretation of what happened that causes that sickness. I'll repeat. It is not what happens that really causes you all that bad feeling. It is your interpretation of, yes. So ukikapo ukiwaza, that is where now the disease emanates from. However, you can turn it around. You can ask yourself, kwani kuachwa, what's the worst that can happen? Does it mean that I can't live? By the way, is she the only woman in this world?
No.
And by the way, what was I seeing in her? He must have been a very bright guy. What was I seeing in her? By the way, hiyo familia niambia hao ni wabaya sana, so hata Mungu amenisaidia, isn't it? You see, now rationally, you can justify why you have gotten out of that. And you start feeling some relief. Hata ni vizuri imeenda vile imeenda, because kwanza Valentine kama angekuwa amenisumbua, na ningekuwa nimekopa more money kumpeleka kwa dates ambazo hazina maana, isn't it?
Yes.
Some people say good riddance. It can work, good riddance. And now you put those energies into something else. Usitaki ati mshindane, ati muonyeshe you can get even a more beautiful girl. Don't go that direction. You're going to use more energy. Can you please turn that energy into something more fruitful, like your studies? Are we together? Remember hapa kwa university mko hapa very short period. Very short period. Just a flash. Kama wale wanafanya the courses which are not highly regulated, is only 8 semesters, sindio? Straight. Those are 2 years and 2 semesters. True? Before the third year is out, you may graduate. So you can put those energies on your studies and prove your worth as a valuable man. On record time, unamaliza. Then you think of the world outside there and all the other combinations and possibilities. Now, the downside of it is if you are trapped, umeachwa and you are trapped there, it can be very depressing. Hata masomo itakushinda because you feel you are worthless. There's nothing in this world that is now worth living for. And me, I'm done, me, I'm finished. That's when the thoughts of suicide start creeping in. Na unaona kujiua can be an option. And it has been happening to many, so don't be one of them. If you want to be a valuable man, let's see your worth at the end of it all. Now, the modern man is fearful of commitment, as he said, because you may feel you are not ready. There are so many things. And I want you to understand, a woman, as I said, she is the one who determines she wants to marry you, but not you. But she's marrying the what? We said she's marrying the what? Prospects in you. That's why hell breaks loose if a man loses their job, because the woman sees now there is no future. Which means, what does she value much? Between you and your job, what does she value most? Yeah. Now you understand what I mean. That she did not marry you. She married what? Which meant a comfort through your income, isn't it? Unambeba kama vile hii column inabebanga kokoto ile iko juu. Ukikosa kazi, and this is for a fact, things can't be the same again with your woman. My wife included. If I lost my job, it has been fluctuating from time to time, so I know this game very well. I'm talking from experience. I'm talking from first-hand experience. My first marriage died because my businesses were crumbling. So my wife realized that she has been waiting for too long akiambiwa tu adili. So ikawa, our marriage was untenable. After 10 years, it collapsed. I was almost losing my head. I didn't have anybody to help me. I had not done counseling then. I had not done psychology then. So I was all alone in the world. And it can be very lonely, I can tell you this. You feel you are isolated, even in church, nobody wants to shake your hand because marriage imevunjika. They don't know. Actually, the problem with the church members, not that they hated me, they didn't have the skills to deal with a member whose marriage has collapsed. You get the point? They also don't know how to deal with you. So don't blame them so much. They are also not skilled. So later on, when I got help, I went back again to my church, and now I became very active, even helping them in presentations because I had gotten help. And I could understand why they could abandon me is because of their inability to deal with that kind of scenario. Now, after 5 years, I remarried again. And of course, soon after that, I went back to school. And from there, things took a turn for the better. Now, that woman attempted to come back after 9 years. Okay, you may think it's a big joke, but to them it's not a big joke. It's a serious attempt. Wanted to come back again now. And she don't mind even if she will be accommodated kwa kando tu hapa kwa kando. Unaona matatu ikijaa tena nitasimama, nitashika chuma. She was more than ready. Kuna ile kambao wanaita namna gani? Hiyo. She did not mind tutafuta kwa kambao, bora tafutiwe nini? Space. But of course it was too late. It was too late. I couldn't entertain anything like that. And of course I now knew where I wanted to go. Now, the wife I'm with currently, sometimes I look at her and wonder, because when we teamed up, I was so poor. Things were so bad. I'm saying this because you are all men now and you said you want to hear it live, isn't it? Yes. Live and in person. Yes. Now, can you imagine when you are so poor, when you are so low, you have got to raise your hand to touch the bottom. Let us say this is the bottom, in your bottom. Where uko, isn't it? So people are hearing somebody scratching the bottom. Uko chini ya bottom. I was there. Not 1 year, not 2 years. So I know what it means not to have money, to be isolated, watu kukuweka kando because you are useless, to be marked with a big X. Kama reli kitaka kubomoa nyumba, si unajua ile X wanawekanga. Are you familiar with the railway? When they want to bring down a building, wanawekanga X moja kubwa sana that you can't miss it. I was there. Now, but God, our God whom we pray to, is always faithful. And don't doubt this. Don't doubt this. I like challenging the young people, especially when you read the book of James. James 1:5 is very clear. James 1:5 is very clear. If you call upon him and you have got good intentions, he would always come to your rescue. The question is, what are your intentions? That's where the trick is. What are your intentions? We are even asked, why don't we have? Yet God has assured us, if we ask him, he will give it to us. Then why don't we have? Why are people so poor? Why are you performing poorly at the university? Yet, Form 4 you blew it with very good grades. Then what has happened? Kwani ni kichwa kingine kimewekwa juu yako? Si kichwa yako ni ile ile? Then what has happened? Several things have happened. Either umedisconnect ile wire tulianza nayo pale kwa socket, or you have now turned your effort into something else and you have lost focus. Can you come back? To be a valuable person, can you come back? And then you refocus. Can you recalibrate? Can you tell God sincerely, I'm back and I want your help now? Na ukatalie hapo. Now to do that, you must undergo some painful processes. Kama some relationships, if they are not working, can you just dismantle them? Our chairman, Professor Gisharo, taught us one thing when I was in Kigali about business. Now that you mentioned business. He said his professors at Cranfield University in Britain, Cranfield, where he went for an entrepreneurship course, sponsored, they taught him one thing. This professor taught him one thing, which he imparted in us. If a business is not doing well, help it to come down. I'll repeat. If a business is not doing well, help it. Yes. If not, utakopa madeni everywhere, trying to hold on to something that is already dead. The same with relationships. I'll tell you now, as a psychologist and as a practicing counselor, some relationships were never meant to be. Some relationships are never meant to be. Christian or not, if you are in the wrong relationship, simply it's a wrong. Now, unataka kwenda Kabati, upande gari ya kwenda Matuu. What chances do you have of reaching Kabati? You want to go to Murang'a, alafu for some reason hapo kwa stage, in that confusion, umepanda gari ya Matuu, alafu umenyamaza. What chances do you have of reaching Murang'a? That's how many people are in their marriages, in their relationships. But as a psychologist, just a short interaction, I can tell you, you boarded the wrong vehicle. It's very painful, but that is the truth. I was in the wrong vehicle for 10 painful years. 10 painful years. And I will tell you, to be in a wrong relationship, be in a wrong marriage, you had better be at Kamiti, ama Kimongo. Other than in a bad marriage. Do you get me? Yes. So, can you now step back and question yourself, the relationship you are pursuing, the relationship you are in, is it worth the trouble you are going through? If I'm not going to impart anything tonight, and you only pick one thing, you question yourself, the relationship you are in, is it worth the trouble you are undergoing? Ama umekuwa martyr of a relationship that finally, we read your tombstone that you was martyred on the whatever of love. And we start now describing love and we can never get an end. It's so confusing. Now, the valuable man is endangered because there is so much confusion from all the quarters, but it is even made worse by the girls. By the way, they are very smart. And if you are doubting me because you are Bible readers, si mnajua hadithi ya Samson vizuri. When you read ya Samson alafu unacheka na huyu jamaa kweli alichukuliwa mbaya sana. Hivi unafikiri ni Samson peke yake? Au hujajiuliza wewe uko wapi? Hivi hapo umefanya mingi ya upuzi hata utakaye kuambia watu the way you have done some things you can never share with people. Because umefanya mambo mengine unachangaa, ni mimi kweli? Unatembea hapa usiku ukienda, even risky path you are taking and unaenda kuona mtu. Hata unashangaa, how did I come out of that alive? Sometimes I'm not as wise as I think. Hali nimepitia hao jamaa wamenifukuza, hata ningeuawa hapa, ningedungwa kisu. Isn't it? Pesa imekwisha, budget imeharibika. Wengine wanabeba vikombe ya juice all the day, na ni wewe unanunua tu. Unanunua juice na wewe ukunywe, isn't it? Let's face it. Nikikuuliza in all fairness, when you tasted the juice, hata wewe ukumbuki. Lakini mtu ameshinda amebeba juice hapa from morning to evening. Ikikwisha unapigiwa simu nyingine inaongezwa. Wanasuananga na juice, isn't it? Hii juice wewe utakunywa lini bwana? Think again. Hii game imeenda vibaya sana, isn't it? This game is very lopsided. Are you agreeing with me? Yes. Hii game imeenda vibaya sana. Yes. Kama mtu anataka kunywa juice, wacha jinunulie juice yake. Now, umekuwa juice donor and there are no benefits. Ni kuhangaika tu. Hata nikuuliza hiyo juice na taste namna gani, wewe hujui. True or not? True or not? The best you can do ni bahali maji imewekwa is where you rush tap ya maji kwa pande gani, unaingia kwa room haraka, unaitisha maji, lakini mtu amebeba juice na iko na kitu pale juu, straw. This is very unfair, sindio? Now you are getting my point. You are getting my point. Now, can we redefine this game? Let us redefine this game. The only way to redefine the game is if we are assertive. If we are assertive as men. The only way you can be assertive first is if you are sure of yourself. The only way to be sure of yourself is if you become first comfortable with yourself. Okay? Yes. If you are comfortable with yourself, then you can be assertive. And you can draw a line. You can draw a red line. Now, if she is threatening to leave you, na kwanza aende saa hii asingoje kesho, isn't it? Are you together? When are you leaving? I'll be so happy to see you back. If you are leaving, are you together? Don't live with a cloud hanging on your neck like the sword of Damocles. At any time your sword itaanguka ikukate. Can you free yourself? Yes. Can you free yourself? Yes. Can you all say amen? Yes. You free yourself and you say amen. I'm free. I am free. If this relationship is not working, nakaende. Now, believe you me, if you stand your ground, you get more respect. If you stand your ground, you get more respect. Lakini ukiimbishwa hivi tu na kale kikombe ka juice na ni ya plastic by the way. Unaimbishwa tu na kikombe ya plastic the whole day. Na uko hapa nyuma tu mtu anasipu anangojea mpaka inakuwa warm. It's no longer cold. Na wewe uko hapo ukingojea uongezee supply. Na wewe ukunywi. You know this is the worst part of it. This is the worst part of it. Unateseka, uko na kiu, unanunua juice nyingine unaongeza nyingine. Na hii game haina mwisho, isn't it? So, now, but how did it get there? How did it get there? They just did not jump to that point. Women are very crafty. We must not underrate that. Because that's a gift they have, an inherent gift. Inherent gift. So you can't underrate it. Ni kama tricks za mtoto. Mtoto akiwa mdogo, they are very innovative. Have you ever watched a kid? A kid, crawling kid, wacha wakitembea na miguu. Anaona hii bottle pale kwa kona. Na watu wengi wako kwa room. Mama anamuweka chini. Before long, ana crawl, anafika kwa ile bottle top. Before you know it, kwa mdomo. Have you ever observed that? Yes. Kids are very good. They are very innovative. And they become very focused. That when they want this one, they'll get it. That's how women are. If they aim to get you, unless you toroke dhika, she'll get you. Are you together? And it's deliberate for them. It's deliberate. They'll bag you. Sasa utakuwa unafikiria ni favor amekufanya, ama ni kimiujiza tu, unaenda ukisema na Mungu ni mkubwa. Well, watch again. Before you say ati Mungu ni mkubwa, watch again. How did it come? As ukienda pale, again you bump into her. Ukienda pale, you bump into her. Wow, kwani niko na bahati namna gani? Umetainiwa kitambo sana. Umeonwa kitambo sana. Are you together? Then of course they have got other talents which they are gifted in. As they approach you, they are scat hapa imefunguka mpaka kiasi ingine fulani. Now you are no longer seeing. You are no longer seeing. Your mind imeanza kuwa disturbed. Even as they speak to you, they are coming closer and closer. Ukijaribu kurudi nyuma, anasonga mbele. Believe you me, you are in very dangerous territory that time. Because our energies, all of us have got energy territory. Our energies are already usurping yours. And before you know it, unatafuta pahali pa kukaa chini because you are weak, your knees are already weak. Unatafuta pahali pa kukaa. And of course they are very gifted, I'm telling you. They are talented. They are mastercraft people. Ni kama suddenly amekosa nguvu, anataka kushikiliwa, mara anataka sijui mkono yake iende wapi kwako, alafu kweli niko na bahati, kweli niko na bahati. Are we together? Now you start looking around for the other guys uwaonyeshe vile hata wewe si hako. Aro unajiambia niko na bahati leo nitawastua kisha wewe. Let me tell you, you're in very dangerous territory. All these things are very deliberate, they're calculated, they've been thought out. Wewe ndio ujui. Wewe ndio ujui. Siku hizi wanasemanga tunaingizwa kwa box. Naingizwa kwa box, alafu box inafanya nini? Inafungwa. Sasa unabeba kama package, isn't it? Kama box imefungwa, what's next? Then you go and you suffocate inside. Pali tu utapelekwa huko ndiko utalanji.
Commercial purposes.
Suddenly unaanza kumuuliza tulikuwa unasema tuende wapi? You are no longer know yourself. You are asking for directions. Instead of giving directions, and I heard some people here say that the men should give directions, isn't it? Wewe umeanza kuuliza? Yes. Atulikuwa unasema tuende wapi? Which means you are directionless. You are directionless. Now, the valuable man needs to assert himself. It's not a simple assignment. And there are so many things, and I will now go back to the chair here. We need to plan a whole workshop of several hours so that we can go stage by stage, tuweze kuchambua mambo, even psychologically. Stages zote za love, stages zote za complications, because love can get very complex. Are you together? And now you can be able to extricate yourself out of those complexities. This is not a 1 hour subject, to be very honest. Ikiwa mnakaa na msichana kwa nyumba, wewe hata una ndevu, unajikuna huku, sijui unajikuna nini, for hours on end, isn't it? Unasikia unajikuna, mwacha everywhere because of the complexity of this issue. True or not? True or not? These are very serious matters. These are very serious matters that we need a lot of time. Now, because I've got to finish, I've got to end it up anyway. Already it's a tattoo.
We can continue.
No, this one also gives you a challenge that actually we need a lot of time. True? Me, I'm ready. Anytime you call me, I'm ready. Are we together? That's my pledge. I'm ready. Sasa chia yako hapa. Usinide lisali moja. This is like a snack, isn't it? We need a real meal. True or not? We need a real meal. This is a snack. Hii ni kionjo tu, isn't it? Hii ni kionjo, kuonjeshwa tu. Kama hiyo juice tumesema ya kale na nika plastic, imagine. Kana kuangaisha na kikombe ni plastic na kametobolewa juu. Alafu unahangaika the whole day, isn't it? Unatoka nyuma ya mtu tu na kona kikombe, wewe una kitu, unangojea kutae mbali tapi ya maji iko, usiniki kunywa maji, ufuate mtu tena akiwa na kikombe ya juice. Hii game lazima iache. True? Lazima muachane na hiyo game. Now, chair, kazi kwako. Isn't it? Because there is not even time for question and answers. Yet you have got the questions. Anyway, let me take 2 questions before we round it up, because time is the question. 2 quick questions. Yes.
Okay, my name is Vincent Lagat. My name is Vincent Lagat. I only have, I had so many questions, but I will only ask one. When you are in that relationship, let's call it a relationship. Sometimes they make you feel like you are powerful. They make you feel you are that man. So, and maybe sometimes because they are your girlfriend, sometimes they might ask you for some small help. Maybe they don't have such things. Could you help me with some money, or I'm sick, can you take me to the hospital, something like that. So my question was, as a Christian, is it okay if I just help him because he's my friend, at the same time I'm a Christian? Is it wrong if I just help her in that money, or to do this 1, 2, 3 things for her?
Thank you for that very good question, because it has put a lot of people in a dilemma. But remember, here, there's a book, and I'm sure you can get it in the library. There's a book titled Man the Manipulator. But of course, you can put Man/Woman the Manipulator. The whole relationship game is a game of highly tuned manipulative actions. Okay? You need to be very, very worried. You need to have your antennas out there. You need to have your antennas all the time, kama za kumba mwiko. Naona kumba mwiko vile ina behave. Ikichomoka pale inajificha, inakuwa kwa meza, first inafanyanga namna hii. It scans. It has got very good radar system. Kumba mwiko. Usicheze na Mungu, na ikikusense ina dark, isn't it? For survival. Now, a woman may deliberately test you financially. If you give the signal that you are capable, utabeba familia yote, starting with a grandmother all the way to those who are hospitalized. Are we together? I'm telling you. Utabeba. Now, you need to have drawn your life very clearly. If you show that you are financially endowed and you feel like carrying that clan, be my guest. But if you don't have good ways of spending your money, why not? They buy your clan. And the more you give, the more they want. And the more they want, the more you give, isn't it? It's a game. But the life is a game. Eh? The question is, do you even know the rules? If life is a game, do you know the rules? Are you together? Life is a game. Do you know the rules? The point is, you even don't know whether life is a game. Haujui? Mimi nakwambia hapa sasa, that life is a game. So, can you first understand the rules before you engage in this game? It's a puzzle, yeah, it's a puzzle. It's an enigma. It's an enigma wrapped in something known as a mystery. Now, your girlfriend, can you start evaluating where you are headed? Because one thing will lead to the other. There is something also known as signaling. There's a guy who wrote a very good book. He started in anthropology, then he ended up in psychology. He is known as Desmond Morris. You can easily Google Desmond Morris. And some of his good writings have been turned into epic pictures now by somebody at Attenborough. The first book he wrote in 1868, The Naked Ape. But his book that I love most is the one which is known as People Watching. People watching. Just watch people as a signal. You know, every time we are signaling. And women are masterclass people on this, in signaling. So now, if you have been wooed into paying bills, the first bill may just look cursory. Then as you move, you money, you nini, things now start rolling. But it is the signal you give, remember. It's not about her, it's you who give the wrong signal that you are capable of footing their hospital bills. Now, again going back to my great professor Albert Ellis, who died in the year 06. I remember I made a presentation when he died because I didn't love his theories. The question you always ask is, even as people cry, idea this, idea that, if you died, would they also die? If you died, would they remain in the hospital because they are hospitalized? It's from that point to start realizing the manipulation. And before you came into the picture, how are they coping? Before you came into the picture. Before you start becoming a donor. Unless, of course, you are an international NGO, then you can take that line. But if not, be very careful. Hapa ni game. Game imefika kilele kingine. Ni ile ya sasa ya Liverpool, unataka ku catch up na Manchester City, isn't it? Go to close the gap. Na hapo si mchezo. Are you together? So, what I would say, I'm not saying outright you don't help her. But can you watch out? Okay? Can you watch out? Be on the lookout. Read those signals. Where are we headed? Suri itakuwa ng'ombe ile ya mama imekufa, nataka kureplace ng'ombe. Na wewe kwani hamna ng'ombe kwanza? Lakini unaenda kununua ng'ombe kwa in-laws and you are not even married to her. Are you together? Yeah. Many guys have educated girls, they get good jobs, and that's the end of the story.
That is what I'm going through.
You have done it?
I've gone through that.
You have gone through that? Umeadimisha mtu? Alafu akakuacha. Now, before I tell you Paul, because you are not dead, before I tell you Paul, this is what we say in psychology. That lesson cost you that much. You see even the con game, watu wanakonu wengine. Be very happy umekoniwa because that lesson you have bought it, the money you have lost. Amen. And that God. So kama ni ng'ombe ulikoliwa, thank God it's ng'ombe. Isn't it? Some people have lost acreages of land, others have lost all their life savings. So thank God you learned your lesson, and I hope you learned it.
Very well.
Very well, good. We'll pass na A. Another question, please, because you can go and not yes, Robert.
Okay, my first question, you have said here that, going by your example, if you allow me, that 10 years you are in a wrong vehicle. Now, this is my question. Which is the ideal age for a real man to marry? And how long should an ideal relationship last before it gets into marriage? Back to you.
Thank you. Hey, Robert, inaonekana you have hit it on the head. That is what we are waiting to hear. Congrats for that. Yeah, I'm excited with your question, Robert, because that age question has always bothered people. And lately we find people are getting more and more late in getting married, or years have really moved. It's because of economic factors and many other considerations like career. Some women want to stabilize in career, some men want to be having a stronger income. All these factors are very relevant and important. However, chronologically, this is what I want to put, and this is very important before you come to an end. A 22-year-old girl cognitively thinks like a 32-year-old man. I'll repeat. Cognitively, a 22-year-old girl is thinking on the same wavelength with a 32-year-old man. That is only the first phase of the question. Which means a girl whom you are thinking is just young, anakuona through mpaka anaona pande ile ingine. Hence, as I said, they are able to discern the prospect in the line you are taking, the degree you are doing. All these are the questions they are asking. Wakati mna chat, sijui degree gani, unamaliza lini, sijui nini. If they are already aware of that trade, the market, the prospects, the income level and whatever. Watu wenu wale nakusaidia, whom you are counting on na kutafutia job ukimaliza. She's truly wired on that. Lakini wewe tu unaona matiti hapa mbele, isn't it? That's how myopic men are. Because men are tunnel vision, just like the cheetah. You know the cheetah chases a gazelle ama antelope full speed, isn't it? Akipiga kona ingine, the game is over. So how does the fastest cheetah get unable to catch this slow moving antelope? It is because of tunnel visioning. Inamulika pale focus. So when it does like this, it gets confused. Another time, acceleration yake, it can't last for more than 3 minutes. The brain would boil because of the speed. Likewise for the man, you are just looking at things visually. But when it comes to actual discernment, we are very myopic. Hence wanakaa tu akizunguka hapa to the whole day. Wengine tumbo kati, wengine huku, because they know the trick. These are inherent things. And we need to pray God tuweze kuepuka hii mitego ndogo ndogo. Are we together? Tuweze kuepuka hii mitego ndogo ndogo so that we can be able to go far. Yeah. They are everywhere. Ukitoka hapa nje unaona, ukivuka kwa gate unaona. True to it. Yeah. Now, age, Robert, you asked. For you to get into a serious engagement and relationships, according to the research in psychology and marriage, a relationship which is said to be stable should last from 1 year to 2 years, 24 months, 12 to 24 months. Stability iko. Because so many things zimekuwa sasa balance. Ukashirikishiana hapa, umeweza kufanya investigations za in-laws, wengine wanakuja na mashati yao na si au unaoa, isn't it? You know, everybody wants to get into this thing to confuse you. Now, if it goes to that it starts going downhill. It starts becoming stale. Hence some people you find 6 months wamepatana wamewana. It's because they are on a rebound from another failed relationship, hawataki ipotee, and they are already feeling exasperated. They are feeling like wanachelewa, isn't it? So there is all that confusion within the relationship field. However, with awareness, you need to consult a counselor long before you fall in love. Long before you fall in love. Because if you are in love, no matter what I'm telling you, are we together? You are not getting me. When you are in love, you are blind. True? When you are in love, utakaki kusikia anything else. Mimi mambo ya fulani, mambo ya Shiku, mambo ya Njeri, mambo ya Uwema Virginia, nisema sitaki mtu aniambie mpaka nijione na. True or not? Which means you have cast out the whole world. Now you come to a counselor wakati umeachwa. Sema mwalimu, hii mambo siyaelewi tena. Of course, how can you understand? It's too late for you to understand. You should have come before so that I can give you the tips. I can give you the signals to look for. I can give you a breakdown of the whole thing. Then you can move into the field ukiwa armed. Don't come wakati umengolewa meno. How can I help you? I'm not a dentist. Are you together? So, age-wise, age from 28 to 30, 32, those are very stable ages. Depending also on what's going on. In some other cultures, that's very late. Utakuwa umekuja under a lot of pressure. Again, we say, if you are aware, you can fend off those pressures. Maybe ni wazazi wanataka uoe. You want to see the grandchildren. But if you are aware, you can fend off many pressures in life. Because hawa ni hao wana address agenda yao kwako. Are we together? Wana address the agenda in you. Remember, most guys here in campus also are doing courses for their parents. True or not? True or not? Some guys here don't even love what they are doing at all. Because wazazi wameinsist, sponsor ameinsist, sijui yangu anaifanya, sijui brother yule mwingine alifanya, nyumbani walikaa chini wakasema, and nobody asked you. True or not? Wengine hiyo course walisukumiwa tu na coops. Akofodhia ni anasha now. Where am I going with Where am I going with this course? They don't have any clue of where they'll go with it. True or not? True. It's a very miserable thing. It's a very miserable thing. Now it's worse in marriage, Robert. Kwanza ukienda nyumbani ukute umepangiwa msichana, oh my God. Umepangiwa, unamkuta nyumbani. Now you had better be honest. As a body of a man, be honest. Waambie huyo si wangu. Umepangiwa wa pili ama ni yule ulikuwa unanunulia ng'ombe? No, you need to come and we have a talk. You find time ukuje. Because we can't also ignore our culture in our issues. We are slaves of our culture. We are slaves of our culture. We can't just wish our culture away. Simpaka leo hii kuna FGM. Si kuna FGM inaendelea? Female genital mutilation. Why is it going on? Culture. But men can change that narrative. If men declare they would marry circumcised women, who would circumcise their girls? Kwani wataolewa na nani? It will die automatically. But so long as the men are appreciating those who are circumcised, why should that come to an end? Are you getting my point? So some of these things we just can't also remain ignorant. We can't just be oblivious. We need kuchangia so that we can get the best results. Anyway, I think I'll go back again to the chairman. Naona time ni ndogo sana. Because these guys have got so many questions, but we can't be able now to answer them. Na ninyi mtapanga. Hata kama mtataka tuanze 6. Tuanze 6. Ama kesha, okay. I would organize for that. So long as you tell me in advance, I would organize. And then we can go stage by stage, especially questions. I know you have got so many questions. Okay? And then we can even put them in writing so that can just read the question, answer it. Are we together?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be forced to stop there because we can go on and on. But as I close, I want to quote something you know very well. If I'm not wrong, I think it is in Psalms or Proverbs 121, where we have the question, where does my help come from? I look up in the hills and I ask, where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord. So Robert, when you want to know after 10 years, whatever happened, that time, okay, I was a Bible reader, but I had not gained the insights I gained when I did psychology to be able to fine-tune them with God's purpose in me. And not. All of us sometimes go through a darkness until the veil is removed. You could be reading the Bible, yes, lakini kuna mambo uelewi. True? So can we continually thirst for God's word so that that which is hidden can be revealed to us? Let's go quickly to somebody like David. Why was David having such a good relationship with God, even pamoja na yale maovu yote alikuwa anatenda? One thing that stands out, hakuna siku alikana. When he was told something, he promptly went down on his knees. True? Let's go back again quickly to the prodigal son. What made the prodigal son go back home? Out of all the chaos in his life, alikuwa amepewa mali, and by the way alitumia na? We are back there again, isn't it? Now, when he was down again, totally finished, what happened to him? He gained some insight, isn't it? Sasa kuliko kukule chakula ya nguruwe in a foreign place, I'd better do what? Go back home. Nikakulia huko, hata kama ni ya nguruwe nyumbani, to be much better. After all, chakula ya nguruwe ni ya nguruwe, isn't it? But when he went back home, the opposite was the thing. He was received high because he gained some insight. So when we seek God's word, when we seek His wisdom, He is going to give us some insight that we don't have at the moment. So we should continually thirst for His word at whatever age, and you realize your life will never change. So I had my difficulties, Robert, like everybody else. Remember, all of us at some point we must have our desert days. But God can take you through that, and He can really show you great things through His great hand, and forever you would hold His high name in high esteem. Let me stop there, and let God's word always give us comforts, and forever we live to praise Him. Amen?
Amen.
I'll stop there, Pastor Chairman. And thank you so much for being so enthusiastic. But it's a date. We must do another date. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you.